Hello, my name is Veronica. Come on into the lab today with me as we get naked. With chipboard, that is. Welcome to the Learning Lab, episode number 29, covering up our nakedness. Come on into the lab today as we find some fanciful ways to cover our chipboards. See you inside. So let's take a look at the board right in front of you. I did a lot of different techniques on here, but I'd like to take you from the beginning, show you a few steps in between of how to get to this end result. I started out with some raw chipboard. This came from Tuesday Morning in a set they have called Best Occasions, but I'm sure most of you have that fancy pants, really large chipboard that we all went crazy over. And you can go directly to your chipboard from here, but I want to show you what I did. I took this same chipboard and covered it in black gesso. And that's this one. I picked it up at Michael's. You can get it at any good arts and crafts store. I just simply put some out, took my foam brush, and just covered the entire thing with black gesso and let it dry. Once it dried and I punched my pieces out, I didn't want to see that gray part, so I then took it and went around the edges and made all of that black. And for this one, I just took the bottom part and ran it through this edge Cuttlebug folder. Just simply placed it on there, ran it through, and when it came out, I wanted to make these flowers really glisten, so I took some of my stickles, just put it on the tips of my fingers, and rubbed that in, and it gives a nice iridescent look. In addition to that, I also covered some chipboard using white gesso, and that is really easy to find. This one, the same thing. I covered my entire board using my foam, and then when I popped out a piece that I wanted to use, let's say this star, I did the same thing. Once it had dried, I took my foam brush and went around it using my white just to finish it off and give it a nice edge. But you can go over that now with some paint or stickles to really make that come out. Some distress ink, chalk, almost anything. Let me show you what my finished one looked like. Now, as you can see, the white star is nice, but once you put a little paint to it, it really brings out the image that you've put into the piece. I just took a paintbrush, went over that, and went around the edges just to finish it off. And so here you can see how I went from this plain black gesso piece to this finished piece. I used the Happy Birthday Cuttlebug folder, ran it through, then I gave it a wash of green paint, and then I took a paper towel and kind of removed some of it. Then I took my wonderful Sakura pens that I love, took the black glazed gel and highlighted the happy and the birthday, and then I took some of my other ones and just went in and really brought out the other happy birthday pieces. I thought I'd play again with another one of the folders, and so I did. I ran it through, and I took some of my Sakura pens and started kind of playing around, and I thought it was a little dull. So I took some of my other favorite thing, that I love to use. I have about 15 bottles of this, but it's the glossy accents. And I put it on and just took my finger and started going over that, and was kind of liking and digging how glossy that was turning out. I stopped there because I wanted to have something for comparison just to see what that looks like. But then I turned this over on the back and I did the entire piece with glossy accents. I love it. I'm going to take this and run that through my Sidekick, and let's come back and compare the two. You can see how that glossy accent really glistens and shows. I'm just going to come in, put a little bit of glossy accents on this. Just use my finger, start to rub that in so you can see how now the shine is there and you can really pick up that image. Once it dries, it will look just as glossy and beautiful as this one. Now, this red heart was done in a similar fashion with the star, except I ran this one through a nestability dye, and I was not pleased with the way it turned out at all. So I did the next best thing, is that I painted it and then went over the top with some glossy accents. So there's a little bit of the design in the back that you see playing around, and I'd like to use this star just to show you how I painted my heart. Now, I use a lot of this from Liquitex, and this is a Basics series, or better known as the student grade value of acrylic paints. I'm not doing anything professional with it at this point. I don't need to pay that much. I can pick up one of these and it'll do just as well. And this is also a brand that came out on the market about 2 or 3 years ago, but it's no, maybe 7, but it's Van Gogh, and they have an acrylic student grade. If you're using this for your scraps, please look for student grade paint, or if you're lucky enough and you can get some of the Making Memories scrapbook paints, do that also. So let's use some of this water slide blue, and this one is called Grapesicle. Love the names that they gave to these. So I'll start out with my Grapesicle. I'm not going to wet my brush or anything because I'm just really going to give this a wash. And then I'm just going to take some dry paper toweling and just give it a brush. And there you go. Cute, cute, cute star. But then I would also take some of this and go into those edges. Now remember, I haven't used my gesso on this, so it'll probably take a little more paint than I would normally use. And that's the thing with using gesso. You use less of your products if you prime your piece. I'm a big believer. Give this a chance to dry. Go back over it with some of my glossy accents and I'll get a piece that looks like this, or the same thing that I did with this little flower. Now on to the glitter. Now when I did this piece, I was being a little ambitious. I covered it with ink, put some glue on, put my glitter on top, took a plastic piece, patted that down really well to make sure that my glitter was going to hold and not fly everywhere. And I got a nice glittery piece of chipboard. So now I'm going to set up a piece that I would like to do with Beauty and use those Martha Stewart glitter beads. I prep this by inking it, and then I'm going to just load on this ultra thick embossing enamel and keep heating and loading and keeping heating and loading until I get it to where it needs to be, and then I'm going to sprinkle my beads inside. You can see on my L where I didn't get any, but I can still go back, reheat that, and make that say lap all over again. Back into my pad. So getting molten again, and I'll take some of these. And now here is my lap with lots of beads on there. Who knew? Beaded chipboard. Gotta love it. Okay, I can hear someone now saying, but I don't want to play with Beauty. It's not a lot of fun for me and I don't want to do that. It's okay. You can probably achieve something very similar using your glossy accents, except you're going to have to put this on super thick, and then you're going to take some of your beads, and then I'm just going to sprinkle the beads into there. Set it aside to dry, and when it's done, I should have a beautifully beaded flower. Now for the final one that I did, took one that I just sewed in white, painted it out, took a pen, put some little things on it, dabbed some of my pigment pearls on there, and then just put some of these little dewdrops, Skittles, whatever it is that people are calling them. And I just thought it was a nice, cute little accent to go onto a scrapbook page. Looking pretty funky to me. So whether you're adding some glossy accents, glitter, running it through a Cuttlebug folder, and then adding some Sakura pins, or using your stickles to really bring that out, raw chipboard has a myriad of possibilities, and each piece that you do is just going to look better and better every single time. And even if you're adding beading, it can really bring out the best in a project. Please remember to visit me at my blog, inkallusions.blogspot.com, for more inspiration and information. Until then,